In tough times, our grandparents and great-grandparents knew how to make the most of what little they had. Their creativity in the kitchen didn't just keep bellies full, it created some truly delicious combinations that have been lost to time. These 25 forgotten poor man's sandwiches might sound strange today, but they carried families through the Depression, wartime, and beyond. Let's rediscover 25 forgotten poor man's sandwiches you'll wish you knew sooner. Bologna sandwich. The Bologna sandwich stands as perhaps America's most iconic budget meal. Thin slices of this processed meat on white bread with a smear of yellow mustard fed countless workers and schoolchildren throughout the 20th century. During the Great Depression, Bologna became known as poor man's steak, affordable when real beef was out of reach for many families. A single slice could stretch across bread to create the illusion of abundance. The best versions featured slightly fried bologna with its edges curled up from the heat, creating a perfect pocket for mustard and mayonnaise. What made this sandwich special wasn't fancy ingredients, but small touches. Some families would score the edges to prevent curling, others would fry it until crisp. The Bologna sandwich wasn't just food, it was reliable comfort during uncertain times, when knowing lunch would be there tomorrow mattered more than culinary excitement. Bread and butter sandwich. Nothing speaks to lean times like the bread and butter sandwich. 2 slices of bread, a layer of butter, and nothing else. This wasn't just a sandwich, it was a statement about making do with almost nothing. In the depths of economic hardship, families would sometimes serve this as a complete meal. The trick to elevating this simplest of sandwiches was in the details. Butter softened to spread perfectly without tearing the bread, a sprinkle of salt to enhance flavor, or bread toasted just enough to melt the butter partially. Children during wartime rationing often received these for school lunches. Some parents would cut them into special shapes or press decorative patterns into the butter to make this basic meal feel special. The bread and butter sandwich teaches us that dignity can be found even in the simplest foods when prepared with care. Mayonnaise and banana sandwich. The marriage of creamy mayonnaise and sweet bananas might sound strange to modern ears, but this unlikely combination fed many Southern families during hard times. The sandwich offered cheap protein from the mayo and needed fruit nutrients from affordable bananas. Depression-era mothers would carefully slice ripe bananas lengthwise, laying them flat on white bread, spread with just enough mayonnaise to add richness without overwhelming the fruit's natural sweetness. Some added a sprinkle of sugar or honey when available for special occasions. Elvis Presley famously enjoyed a variation with peanut butter added. The contrast between creamy, tangy mayonnaise and sweet, soft banana created a surprisingly balanced flavor profile that many remember fondly from childhood, even after their circumstances improved. Onion sandwich. Raw onion between bread slices might sound like punishment, but this pungent sandwich sustained countless workers during the early 20th century. Cheap and available year-round, onions provided flavor and nutrition when little else was affordable. The key was slicing the onion paper thin, soaking the slices briefly in cold water to remove some bite, then patting them dry before placing between bread spread with butter or drizzled with a bit of vinegar. Salt and pepper finished this humble meal that packed surprising flavor. Coal miners and factory workers carried these in lunch pails, the strong smell preventing others from stealing their meals. The sandwich also delivered energy through simple carbohydrates and kept winter colds at bay with the onion's natural antibacterial properties. What began as necessity became preference for many who developed a taste for the sandwich's sharp simplicity. Peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Though now associated with childhood lunches, the PB&J began as an economical protein solution. First appearing in recipe books around 1901, it became a Depression-era staple when peanut butter offered affordable protein and homemade jellies preserved seasonal fruit. During World War II, both peanut butter and jelly appeared on military ration lists, and returning soldiers helped popularize the combination nationwide. The magic was in its self-contained completeness. Sweet and salty, creamy and fruity, protein and carbohydrates all in one simple package. Families stretched ingredients by spreading peanut butter all the way to the edges, but concentrating jelly in the middle. Regional variations emerged: grape jelly in the Northeast, strawberry preserves in the South, and apple butter in Appalachia, each reflecting local fruit availability during tough times. Ketchup sandwich. When the cupboard was truly bare, the ketchup sandwich emerged as a last resort that somehow became beloved by children. 2 slices of bread with nothing but ketchup spread between them. This sandwich embodied making something from almost nothing. During the Depression, ketchup provided both flavor and slight nutrition from tomatoes when fresh vegetables were unaffordable. Parents would sometimes toast the bread to make the simple meal seem more substantial. Some added a sprinkle of sugar to enhance the ketchup's sweetness, creating an approximation of dessert. School cafeterias occasionally served these during the 1930s. Depression-era children grew up with these sandwiches, and many continued making them even after prosperity returned. Comfort food that connected them to their resilient past. Lard sandwich. Perhaps the most humble of all poor man's sandwiches, the lard sandwich represents bare-bones sustenance. A spread of rendered animal fat on bread provided calories when nothing else was available. Appalachian families and rural poor relied on this simple combination for quick energy. Sometimes enhanced with a sprinkle of salt or sugar depending on whether a savory or sweet meal was desired, lard sandwiches were filling if not nutritionally complete. Those with access to home-rendered lard claimed superior flavor to store-bought varieties. Some families added a thin scraping of molasses on special occasions. The sandwich's high caloric density made it popular among physical laborers who needed substantial energy to make it through demanding workdays. Cucumber sandwich. Though later associated with fancy afternoon tea, the cucumber sandwich began as humble fare. Thin sliced cucumbers between bread provided hydration and refreshment to workers in hot weather when meat was unaffordable. Depression-era families made these with garden cucumbers in summer months, adding thin spread of butter and salt. The cool crispness offered refreshment during hot days, particularly for farm workers. Some enhanced them with dill or vinegar when available. Unlike many poor man's sandwiches that provided calories, cucumber sandwiches offered psychological refreshment, the feeling of eating something fresh and green when most meals were heavy and starchy. They represent how even in poverty, people found ways to create moments of delight. Tomato sandwich. When summer gardens yielded their treasure, the tomato sandwich celebrated seasonal abundance amid year-round scarcity. Garden-grown tomatoes sliced thick onto bread with salt and pepper created a seasonal treat that cost almost nothing. Southern families perfected this sandwich with a light spread of mayonnaise, while Midwestern versions often featured butter instead. The key was using tomatoes still warm from the sun, their juices soaking slightly into the bread to create a messy but glorious eating experience. During garden season, this sandwich might be eaten daily until frost ended tomato season. The anticipation of first summer tomatoes and the rituals of preparing this sandwich became cultural touchstones in many rural communities where this simple meal represented both poverty and abundance simultaneously. Peanut butter and pickle sandwich. This unusual pairing of creamy peanut butter with tangy, crunchy pickles created a surprisingly balanced flavor combination that stretched modest ingredients. Depression-era cooks discovered that the sharp acidity of pickles cut through the richness of peanut butter perfectly. Dill pickles were most commonly used, though sweet pickles appeared in regions where they were home-canned. The contrast of textures, smooth peanut butter against crisp pickle, added interest to an otherwise monotonous diet. This sandwich remained popular through the 1950s, particularly in rural areas where both ingredients were readily available through home canning and affordable staples. Depression-era children often continued enjoying these sandwiches into adulthood, the flavors connecting them to childhood even after their circumstances improved. Tuna salad sandwich. When canned tuna became widely available in the early 20th century, it revolutionized budget eating. Mixed with mayonnaise and perhaps finely chopped celery or onion, tuna salad stretched a small amount of protein across multiple sandwiches. During World War II, with meat rationing in effect, tuna salad sandwiches became patriotic alternatives to beef. Navy wives particularly embraced these sandwiches, adding relish or hard-boiled eggs when available to extend the filling further. Churches and community gatherings often featured these sandwiches since they could feed many for little cost. The tuna salad sandwich represents community resilience, how shared knowledge about stretching ingredients helped neighborhoods weather hard times together. Fried Spam sandwich. When Spam hit markets in 1937, it provided affordable meat alternative during Depression and wartime rationing. Thinly sliced and fried until crisp-edged, Spam on bread became a working-class staple. Military personnel during World War II consumed enormous quantities of Spam, bringing their taste for it home after the war. Often dressed with mustard or mayonnaise, the sandwich's popularity transcended its necessity origins. Hawaiian communities embraced Spam during military occupation, creating regional variations that persist today. The Spam sandwich represents how wartime necessity foods became cultural touchstones, remembered not just for their utility, but for their connection to historic moments of sacrifice and resilience. Egg and sardine sandwich. When protein was scarce but essential for physical labor, the egg and sardine sandwich delivered maximum nutrition from minimal ingredients. Canned sardines mashed with hard-boiled eggs and a touch of vinegar created a filling rich in protein and omega-3 fatty acids. Immigrant communities particularly embraced this combination, drawing on European traditions of fish preservation. The sandwich traveled well in lunch pails for factory workers and miners, providing sustained energy through long shifts. Some versions added finely chopped onion or pickles when available. The egg and sardine sandwich stands as testimony to nutritional wisdom in poverty, how people instinctively combined complementary proteins even before nutritional science confirmed the practice's value. Bacon and peanut butter sandwich. When a single strip of bacon needed to add flavor to an entire meal, the bacon and peanut butter sandwich was born. Often, one strip would be cooked crisp, crumbled, and sprinkled throughout peanut butter to distribute smoky flavor throughout. During meat rationing, this combination allowed families to enjoy bacon flavor while stretching minimal meat allowance. The salt and smoke of bacon perfectly complemented peanut butter's richness, creating satisfaction beyond their humble ingredients. Some families added honey or molasses when available for special occasions. This sandwich demonstrates how even the smallest luxury ingredient, a single bacon strip, could transform an ordinary meal into something memorable when used creatively. Mayonnaise and onion sandwich. Sharp raw onion tamed by creamy mayonnaise created a sandwich that delivered bold flavor when other ingredients weren't available. Thinly sliced onions were sometimes soaked briefly in water to reduce their bite before being layered with mayo between bread slices. Factory workers favored this inexpensive filling option that provided enough energy to sustain physical labor. The sandwich became particularly associated with Southern textile mill employees and Midwestern manufacturing workers. Some added a sprinkle of black pepper or paprika when available. The mayonnaise and onion sandwich represents working-class pragmatism, functional food that prioritized sustenance and affordability over culinary trends. Bread and milk sandwich. Perhaps the most elemental comfort food, bread soaked in sweetened milk, became a sandwich of last resort that somehow transcended its poverty origins. Slices of bread dipped in milk, sprinkled with sugar, and pressed together created a sweet, soft meal for those with few alternatives. During the Depression, parents often served these as dessert to children who had no access to proper sweets. Sometimes cinnamon was added when available, creating an almost cake-like experience from bare staples. The bread and milk sandwich appears in Depression-era memoirs as both emblem of hardship and symbol of parental love. How mothers and fathers transformed complete basics into experiences of comfort for their children during the bleakest times. Chicken salad sandwich. When a single chicken needed to feed a family for days, the chicken salad sandwich represented the final stretching of that precious protein. After roasting for Sunday dinner and using leftovers for Monday soup, remaining bits were chopped finely and mixed with mayonnaise, stretching the meat across multiple lunch sandwiches. Depression-era and wartime cooks added diced celery, apples, or hard-boiled eggs to extend the mixture further. The finer the chicken was chopped, the further it would stretch, creating an economy of scarcity that nevertheless delivered protein and satisfaction. Church social events often featured these sandwiches with crusts removed and cut into triangles, transforming everyday sustenance into occasion food without additional expense. The chicken salad sandwich represented resourcefulness and respect for food, ensuring not a single scrap of precious meat went to waste. Mock chicken sandwich. When chicken was unaffordable, creative cooks developed mock chicken from cheaper ingredients. Usually based on coarsely ground Bologna or other inexpensive processed meats mixed with cracker crumbs and seasoning, this spread mimicked the texture and flavor of chicken salad. Factory cafeterias and school lunchrooms served these during wartime meat rationing. The convincing flavor came from careful seasoning with sage, celery salt, and sometimes a drop of yellow food coloring to mimic the buttery color of chicken salad. Some variations used cooked beans as base instead of meat. The mock chicken sandwich represents culinary ingenuity, how creative cooks refuse to accept deprivation, instead reinventing desired foods from available ingredients. Ham and cheese sandwich. Though now considered unremarkable, the classic ham and cheese sandwich began as careful management of precious resources. Deli ham, sliced paper-thin, and a single slice of processed cheese could be spread across multiple sandwiches when necessary. Depression-era mothers might use a single slice of each to create sandwiches for an entire family, sometimes bulking them out with lettuce or mayo. The combination provided complete protein when meat alone was too expensive to consume in quantity. Some families would collect cheese rinds to melt into a spread that went further than sliced cheese. The ham and cheese sandwich represents calculated nutrition, how people instinctively combined complementary proteins to create complete meals during scarcity. Chicken liver sandwich. When nothing of the chicken could be wasted, livers became sandwich filling that provided exceptional nutrition at minimal cost. Cooked and finely chopped with onions, then mixed with a little mayonnaise, chicken livers created rich, iron-packed sandwiches. Rural families who raised their own chickens particularly relied on these sandwiches as a way to use every part of the bird. Sometimes enhanced with hard-boiled eggs or relish, the spread was both economical and highly nutritious. Farm children often carried these in lunch pails, benefiting from concentrated nutrition during growing years. The chicken liver sandwich represents sustainable eating before it became fashionable, using whole animal approaches out of necessity rather than culinary trend. Anchovy paste sandwich. When even a small tube of anchovy paste could flavor multiple meals, this pungent sandwich became working-class standby. Spread thinly on buttered bread, sometimes with sliced hard-boiled egg when available, anchovy paste provided intense flavor and omega-3 fatty acids. Immigrant communities from Mediterranean regions particularly embraced this sandwich, maintaining food connections to their homelands even in poverty. The strong flavor ensured satisfaction even with minimal application. Some added thin sliced onion or lemon juice when available. The anchovy paste sandwich demonstrates how concentrated flavors helped compensate for quantity limitations during hard times. A small amount could create memorable, satisfying meals. Curried sardine salad sandwiches. Experience the bold and zesty combination of sardines and curry powder with a sandwich that's truly extraordinary. This flavorful creation hails from mid-20th century America, where canned sardines were a budget-friendly staple, especially after World War II. Our unique recipe blends mashed sardines with aromatic curry powder, creamy mayonnaise, a splash of tangy lemon juice, and crunchy chopped celery, resulting in a spread that bursts with flavor and texture. Generously spread this delicious mix on your favorite bread and top it with fresh lettuce or cucumber slices for an added crunch that perfectly complements the creamy filling. In England, variations often include chopped apples or raisins for a touch of sweetness, while American versions might incorporate hard-boiled eggs or capers for an extra flavor boost.
Monte Cristo sandwich. The Monte Cristo sandwich is a classic American dish that gained popularity in the mid-20th century. It's an egg-dipped or batter-dipped ham and cheese sandwich that is pan or deep-fried, often considered a variation of the French croque monsieur. The sandwich can be savory or a mix of savory and sweet, sometimes covered in powdered sugar and served with maple syrup or preserves. Its rise in popularity is partly attributed to being served at Disneyland's Blue Bayou restaurant.
Olive loaf sandwiches. Imagine yourself back in the mid-20th century when American lunchboxes featured a new staple, the olive loaf sandwich. This cold cut, blending ground pork, beef, and green olives, quickly became popular for its distinctive flavor. Assembling the sandwich was easy. Layer slices of olive loaf with creamy mayonnaise or tangy mustard, crisp lettuce, and sometimes cheese, all nestled between fresh bread. This simple yet delicious sandwich became a picnic and lunchbox favorite, often enjoyed with potato chips or pickles. It tells the story of how processed meats and cold cuts shaped American lunch culture, offering quick, flavorful, and varied meal options. Over time, the rise of fresh, health-conscious eating habits led to the decline of processed meats. However, the olive loaf sandwich remains a nostalgic reminder of simpler culinary times.
Sloppy Joe. Another notable sandwich from that era is the Sloppy Joe, which consists of ground beef, onions, tomato sauce or ketchup, Worcestershire sauce, and other seasonings served on a hamburger bun. The origins of the Sloppy Joe are debated, with some attributing it to a bar owner in Havana, Cuba in 1917, while others trace it back to Sioux City, Iowa in the 1930s. By the 1940s, references to Sloppy Joes as sandwiches became common in the United States. These sandwiches reflect the culinary trends of their times, offering a glimpse into the flavors and preferences that shaped mid-20th century American cuisine.
Ravioli sandwiches are an unconventional, playful lunch option that taps into the beloved flavors of Italian cuisine while embracing the convenience of a sandwich. These emerged likely in response to the popularity of canned ravioli introduced by Chef Boyardee in the 1930s. The sandwich involves placing canned ravioli filled with meat or cheese between slices of bread, which can be toasted or grilled to meld the flavors and add a textural contrast to the soft ravioli filling. Known in some places as Italian Sloppy Joes or Ravioli Hero, these sandwiches gained a following among budget-conscious college students and anyone appreciating the melding of comforting Italian flavors with the easy handheld format of a sandwich. Creamed corn sandwich. The creamed corn sandwich is a nostalgic reminder of comfort food from simpler times. This sandwich features creamed corn spread on buttered bread. The creamy sweet corn provides a comforting taste, making it a popular choice during times when ingredients were limited. Spread the creamed corn generously on slices of bread to create a hearty and flavorful sandwich. This dish reflects an era when homemade simplicity was highly valued. The creamed corn sandwich continues to be a comforting option for those who enjoy the flavors of classic American comfort food, offering a taste of a bygone era.
Monte Cristo sandwich. The Monte Cristo sandwich is a classic American dish that gained popularity in the mid-20th century. It's an egg-dipped or batter-dipped ham and cheese sandwich that is pan or deep-fried, often considered a variation of the French croque monsieur. The sandwich can be savory or a mix of savory and sweet, sometimes covered in powdered sugar and served with maple syrup or preserves. Its rise in popularity is partly attributed to being served at Disneyland's Blue Bayou restaurant.
Macaroni and cheese loaf sandwich. Transport yourself back to mid-20th century America, where comfort food took on a new form. The classic sandwich. Think of slices of macaroni and cheese loaf, a delightful combination of pasta and ham shaped into a loaf-like product. Layered between bread with mustard or mayonnaise, this intriguing dish made its debut in the 1950s, becoming a unique addition to the American sandwich repertoire. Imagine families gathering around tables, savoring this peculiar yet beloved creation. Chips or pickles often accompanied this culinary delight, adding an extra layer of flavor. This sandwich offered a novel solution for those craving the hearty taste of macaroni and cheese, but seeking the convenience of a sandwich. It became a cherished option for lunches, blending nostalgia with practicality in equal measure.
Deviled ham sandwiches, similarly, deviled ham sandwiches gained prominence in the late 19th and early 20th centuries. Deviled ham is made by grinding ham and mixing it with spices like hot sauce, cayenne pepper, or mustard to add a zesty flavor. The term deviled refers to the addition of spicy seasonings to food, a practice dating back to the 18th century. The William Underwood Company, established in Boston in 1822, began producing deviled ham in 1868. Their product became known for its long shelf life and distinctive devil logo, which is one of the oldest food trademarks in the US. To make a deviled ham sandwich, mix ground ham with mayonnaise, mustard, and spices to taste. Spread the mixture onto bread, optionally adding lettuce or pickles for extra texture and flavor.
Corned beef tongue sandwich. For those willing to try something adventurous, the corned beef tongue sandwich offers a unique flavor experience. Made with slices of corned beef tongue, this sandwich features a distinctive taste and texture. The corned beef tongue is seasoned and cooked to perfection, then layered between slices of bread. This sandwich reflects a time when culinary creativity and resourcefulness led to memorable dishes. While it might not be as commonly found today, the corned beef tongue sandwich remains a testament to the diverse and inventive nature of past American cuisine. Its unique flavor profile continues to intrigue those who appreciate historical culinary practices.
Tongue sandwich. Meanwhile, the tongue sandwich tells the story of culinary ingenuity, transforming a once overlooked cut of meat into a delicacy. In many traditional Jewish delis and European bistros, beef tongue was slow cooked until tender, then thinly sliced and served on robust rye or crusty rolls. The sandwich is typically finished with bold condiments, such as spicy mustard or horseradish, that cut through the rich, savory flavor of the tongue, making it a dish that, although less common today, continues to be celebrated by those with a taste for traditional offal-based fare.
Spam and pineapple sandwiches. Capture a uniquely American taste for sweet and savory combinations that soared in popularity during World War II. Introduced to the American military in 1937, Spam became a staple in many households. The recipe for Spam and pineapple sandwiches represents the culinary influence of Hawaii on the mainland, which intensified after Hawaii became a state in 1959. The sandwich features crispy slices of fried Spam paired with sweet, slightly charred pineapple rings nestled between slices of toasted bread. This blend of salty meat with the caramelized sweetness of pineapple provides a delightful contrast in flavors. Optionally dressed with mayonnaise or a slice of cheese, these sandwiches reflect a significant Hawaiian influence on mainland American cuisine, particularly during the 1950s when Hawaiian culture gained widespread appeal. The result is a dish that marries diverse culinary traditions in a uniquely satisfying way.
Victory sandwich. The victory sandwich is a symbol of resourcefulness and post-war optimism, a creation born from times when every ingredient was precious. Traditionally assembled with simple, readily available items like buttered bread, a modest layer of tangy mustard or butter, and whatever cold cuts or vegetables were on hand, it became a culinary emblem of triumph over scarcity. Today, chefs continue to reinvent the victory sandwich by pairing classic components with unexpected gourmet touches such as artisanal spreads or pickled vegetables, thereby honoring its humble origins while appealing to modern tastes.
Fish stick sandwiches. Rising to fame in the 1950s, a golden era for convenience foods, Gorton's of Gloucester, Massachusetts, introduced breaded fish sticks. These delights were among the first frozen foods to be promoted during the television advertising boom of the decade, which significantly shaped American eating habits. Quick to prepare and mild in flavor, fish sticks became a go-to protein source, fitting perfectly between slices of bread with a dollop of tartar sauce or ketchup. To enjoy them, simply bake or fry the fish sticks until they're crispy, then sandwich them with your choice of condiments. Their popularity reflects a broader post-war trend toward processed foods, offering easy and quick preparation for growing families and busy households. Fish stick sandwiches were especially popular in school cafeterias, providing a speedy and satisfying way to nourish children with a comforting, crunchy meal.
Potted meat sandwiches. Potted meat sandwiches were a staple in the early 20th century, offering a practical solution for meat preservation before modern refrigeration. Potted meat involves cooking meat until tender, then sealing it in a container with fat to extend its shelf life. To prepare a simple potted meat sandwich, spread butter on 2 slices of bread and add a generous layer of potted meat. This combination provided a convenient and satisfying meal during times when fresh meat storage was challenging. As preservation methods improved, the popularity of potted meat sandwiches declined. However, they remain a part of culinary history, reflecting the resourcefulness of past generations in creating tasty and practical meals.
Turkey and cranberry sandwiches. Cleverly repurpose the quintessential Thanksgiving leftovers into an enticing sandwich that marries the savory flavor of turkey with the sweet tang of cranberry sauce. This tasty combination rose to popularity in mid-20th century America, showcasing an inventive way to transform holiday leftovers into delightful new meals. The sandwich is simply made by stacking slices of turkey and cranberry sauce, often accompanied by stuffing between 2 pieces of bread. This culinary creation not only makes excellent use of leftover turkey, but also captures the festive essence of Thanksgiving, melding juicy, savory turkey slices with the sharp sweetness of cranberry sauce and a sandwich that embodies the holiday spirit.
Cheesedream sandwich. The Cheesedream sandwich is a nostalgic delight dating back to the early 1900s, a comforting, melty creation born during times when simple ingredients were celebrated for their heartwarming qualities. Traditionally prepared as an open-faced grilled cheese, this sandwich features thin slices of American cheese gently melted over buttered bread, sometimes enhanced with a subtle drizzle of honey or a sprinkling of toasted breadcrumbs for extra crunch. Over the years, creative cooks have reinterpreted the classic by incorporating artisanal cheeses or a touch of spice, yet its enduring appeal remains rooted in its straightforward, comforting flavors that evoke memories of home and the resourcefulness of past generations.
These forgotten sandwiches tell America's hidden food history, how ordinary people weathered extraordinary hardship with creativity and dignity. They remind us that good food isn't always about exotic ingredients or elaborate preparations. Sometimes it's about making the most of what you have, finding comfort in simplicity, and sharing what little is available with those you love. Next time your grocery budget feels tight, instead of reaching for expensive ingredients, consider these forgotten classics. You might discover that between 2 slices of bread lies not just a meal, but a connection to the quiet heroism of everyday survival that defined much of American food history.